Hi, everyone. Today, I've got something a little different to bring to you. I'm introducing you to you a gentleman that has been a tremendous success in life in general. Unlike most of the interviews that we've done on the show, which involves real estate people and some of their success, our icons, our ambitious brokers, and so forth, this particular gentleman has been very successful in a number of different kinds of businesses. He owns a lot of real estate, even though he's not in the business. And one of the things we're doing today is one of those pieces of real estate, which happens to be a 18,000 square foot personal residence, is where we're going to be shooting from. So we're going to get a chance to expose that to you. So again, lots of businesses. He's also a fabulous musician. And we're going to talk about some of the obstacles that he's run across in building his business, not the least of which is his blindness. And yes, he's blind. And he could see when he was younger growing up, but he has retinitis pigmentosus, which has led to complete blindness by now. And we're going to do a lot of talking about a business he started after total blindness, and that's a wine business. So if you can imagine a fellow with no vision starting a business where he had to go find some land, start building his vineyards, and then actually start blending and doing that all after complete blindness. So it's a very inspiring story. I hope that you'll enjoy it and give me some feedback on what you think about it. And so we'll let you now meet Mr. David Hunt.
Even though I am blind, that doesn't stop me. I use the sensors I have and I work around the inconveniences. I believe it helps me to make flavorful, incredible wines. My name is David Hunt. I'm the owner and winemaker of Hunt Cellars in Paso Robles, California. My goal is to make the best wines on the planet, of course, and I do this even though I'm blind. I knew that something was wrong when I was around 7 years old, when my friends could trick or treat and I might run into a tree. I played sports and I got poked in the eye, and the doctor, when I was 13, said to me, "Well, you're not going to be a doctor, you're not going to be a lawyer, you're going to go blind," which I thought was pretty harsh. You know, your words are powerful. If you say it's impossible, guess what? It will be impossible. If you believe you can do it, you will find a way. Don't give up on the dream. Just because you have a handicap or an inconvenience, go for it. Learn on the job. That's what I do. If I believe in a business, I don't go listen to lawyers or accountants who are going to talk you out of it. If I believe I can do it, I just do it. I sold my electronic business in the mid-90s, and I said, let's do a vineyard. My wife was pregnant with Destiny when I bought the vineyard. Just since I named it Destiny Vineyards, we had already named our daughter, so it became Destiny Vineyards. In the wine business, the secret is the source of the fruit. You can't make good wine out of bad grapes. So I started with a couple of thousand cases, and I wanted to be a boutique high-end winery. So we made small lots, and we've grown from 1,000, 2,000 cases to as many as 15,000. I think when you're blind or you have a handicap, God will enhance other sensors for you. People tell me all the time that I have an enhanced palate, an enhanced nose, which is probably very true. And memory is so important, and I have to memorize my way. I memorize every path, every bathroom I go to. I can find my way around, and people may not know I'm blind. Making the wines, blending the wines, and creating a product, the alchemy, it's not always what your mind says, it's what the alchemy and how it works. For example, I made a wine called Thriller. I said, I'm gonna do a 4-wine blend, Cabernet, Merlot, Syrah, and Zinfandel. And I said, just for the heck of it, let's try some Cabernet Franc. And wow, it created another layer. I got some Petite Syrah here, so let's try that too. And every wine added another layer. That's alchemy. And I named it Thriller because I was being a musician. I was a huge fan of Michael Jackson. She packed my bag last night, pre-flight. I think music is a big part of most people's lives, and I would say, have you ever had a great bottle of wine without your favorite music in the background? I started playing the piano when I was 24 years old, and when did I start playing for the customers? From day one. Wine changes the mood. Wine is truth. Music inspires wine, and wine inspires music. It all coagulates together and makes you happy. So many of the wineries have a lot of snobbery about them. Our place is happy. We bring you in to have a great wine experience, come in happy and leave happier. Don't ever feel intimidated because you may not have the knowledge of wine. The best wine is the wine you enjoy drinking. Wine is for everybody. It's not only good for your heart and your blood pressure, but it's good for the soul.
You know, for people viewing, this is David Hunt, everyone. And the thing that inspired me to bring you into our podcast is that, as you know, we've known each other for 35, 40 years. And I've always been, you know, just always in awe of your collective skill set and your talent.
Oh, thank you.
I've always enjoyed our friendship. And we end up here often when you invite me over. And then we sit and play this. And the last time I was here, I remember thinking, God, I wish we could share this with people because I enjoy it so much. And as we did, I got a hold of my producer and said, Christopher, can we do this? I'd like to have you meet David, and I'd like to have the people who watch our show meet you. And we sit here in this beautiful room, and you've got recording equipment everywhere. But music's just like a part of your life. And it's been a big part of it.
Yeah.
But it's been your creative outlet. It's been, you just have all this great talent. And we're in the middle of, at the edge, I guess, of this massive home. I don't even know how big it is. I know we have an elevator and 18,000 square feet or something like that. And I know your wine cellar is bigger than my house. I know.
Oh,
that.
Come on.
So it's a spectacular environment to be in. Just always love it so much. So I thought this would be a great setting to talk to you because I know you're a big person about mindset and positive thinking and so forth.
Yes.
And so we're in this great environment, but it hasn't always been like this for you.
No.
And I think that's what's always intrigued me. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I know before we get too young in your or too early in your life, I know that I want to talk about just a few minutes about just some of the business stuff you've been involved with, because I know you did music. I know you've written some music. A lot of music, actually. You've performed music, and that was a living for a while. But you've also invested in real estate pretty heavily throughout the years.
Yes.
That's been pretty good to you. When I first met you, you were in electronics business.
High tech, yeah.
So what were you doing with that? What got you into doing that?
Well, when I was very young, in my early 20s, I came to California to make it in the music business. But then I realized I would eventually be going blind, and I had to make a living, and I didn't want to live in the back of a Volkswagen bus.
Right.
I wanted something I can control, which would be in business. If you're honest and you treat people right and you have a good product, you can dictate your destiny. So I bought a security system back then to protect my recording equipment.
Right.
Back when I was in my 20s. And then everybody seemed to want one. This was right after Woodstock, and when all the drugs were being prevalent and people used to be able to rob.
So you were protecting
stores.
your drugs? With your
No, I was protecting my music equipment. But so that led to everybody wanting one, got me in the security business, and which led me into high-tech electronics, which is where I met you. We started office automation, and I was one of the pioneers in the smart home and in voicemail, which is what you and I were involved with.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize, but my real estate company, we were the first real estate company to ever do voicemail.
Yep.
And it was really strange how I found you, because I was doing some research on, as our company was growing, we were getting very productive, and I needed to have a way to have all the calls answered, and the volume was increasing. And so I needed one person. And as we got bigger, I needed one receptionist, and I needed half the receptionists, which are hard to hire, and I started doing a little bit of reading about possibly solving this problem, ran across the concept of voicemail, which was bizarre to everybody, but there was some interesting features in it. Like I could leave one message and talk to all 50 agents or something like that, because I had one office at the time. And that's how I found you.
Yep. Well, the cost justification was I think I told you how much you pay your secretary. Did she work 24 hours a day, and how much you spend on notepads? You told me a couple $1,000 a month.
Oh yeah.
I said, do you ever have any imperfect message? You said, all the time. I said, then this thing never makes a mistake.
That's right. I think we were like serial number 50 or something.
Yeah.
We were very early.
Yeah. It was difficult to break the mold, but through you, we put it on the map.
You sure did.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of real estate offices after that.
They copied it. Like we said, pioneers are the guys that have arrows in their backs.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you did that, and you had a successful business. You moved on, and you were progressively losing your sight, though. Because I remember even those days you had a little sight.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
Sight.
I got in. I helped develop products that helped me with my blindness to overcome obstacles, such as dictation 24 hours a day. I could leave a message from my person who transcribed for me. I could leave group messages with a carbon copy from me. And then I helped pioneer the smart home back in the early 80s, which would turn lights on as I had a little bit of sight down the hallway, and created these macros, of which you knew about that too. And these things that helped me work around being blind.
Well, it's interesting because you did my house too.
Yep.
And you might remember. And it was so interesting because we had a computer built into the wall, and
the touchscreen.
The touchscreen, and you could set the air conditioner to come on and off, and you could set different rooms, and it was so far ahead of everybody at the time, and people would come over and they'd always be kind of amazed by it. But to your point, you walk into a room and the lights come on before you get there, and security tied into it, air conditioning again on and off, and it's even more elaborate, of course, today. But
doesn't work as well.
And it doesn't work. It's a little inconsistent now.
Yeah, it's a dedicated platform back then. Yes,
that's true. So anyway, so you got into all that, and then you eventually lost your sight totally.
Yes, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
When my daughter was born, Destiny.
Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have before I get into what we really came to talk about today, and that's mindset and all that, is it's always interesting to me that you started the wine business and you really didn't have any background in wine.
Yeah, I did.
Did you? What was it?
I practiced drinking 30 years.
That makes me an expert too. Then.
You can be a winemaker. No, I developed my palate. I have maybe the ability to focus better than other people. Everybody has sensors. They're lazy, they don't turn them on. But I always turned them on, even before I was going blind. I had something to tell me. Mnemonics, learn memory, memorize everything. Right. And so I developed my palate, and then I decided that I sold my electronics in the 90s, and I said it'd be a good way to retire is to own a winery and make wine. I never worked so hard in my life, though.
Well, we showed some a clip of your vineyard, and I don't think there's any. I don't think your showrooms is a part of that, but
yeah, it was. There was a picture of me on the piano in the showroom.
Okay. Well, you know it. So you bought a vineyard. Or you bought land.
I bought land and built the vineyard. Yes.
You have 500 acres, or how many acres?
550 acres.
550 acres of land in Paso Robles. And the name of your vineyard is Hunt Cellars.
No, Destiny Vineyards.
Destiny Vineyards.
Named after my daughter.
Okay, then the Hunt is the name of the wine.
Hunt is the tasting room. Hunt Cellars is the brand. Yes.
Okay, it's the brand.
Yeah.
Hunt Cellars is the brand. Vineyards called Destiny after your daughter. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
We're straight now. All right. But now you entered this business, unlike all your previous businesses. You were totally blind for all intents and purposes by the time you started this, or no?
When I bought the land, I'd studied at UC Davis, some courses in enology, et cetera, UC Davis as well. And I studied rootstocks and all the different agriculture segments of wine. But I bought the land. I could see the soil of it. I knew it was a soil that would make intense wines and beautiful wines, Cabernets, et cetera. So I ended up being 100% right. It didn't have an agricultural well, so I was willing to risk $50,000 to dig a well because it needed water.
Right.
And rolled the dice. I hired a hydrologist. He came out and said, dig here, and we got a huge well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And has that's basically provided water for your all 500 acres? No,
I only produce wine on about 60 acres.
Oh, that's okay.
The rest is, I don't need anymore.
Okay.
It's a lot of production.
Got it. So your wines have been pretty exceptional. I mean,
thank you.
For all intents and purposes, it's all I drink.
Oh, how nice.
Except for some scotch occasionally.
Oh, we like that, don't we?
and because of your music, you tied in the names of a lot of your wine in your music.
That I did.
Yeah. So like Rhapsody.
Rhapsody in Red was the song. The first song was a prelude to Rhapsody in Red. That's the theme song.
Right.
I have an album called Rhapsody in Red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one of the Michael Jackson's.
Thriller.
The Thriller. You did one Thriller. Yeah. So all your wines are, but it's not just an afterthought. I mean, you put a lot of thought into this stuff.
They all. It's funny how things.
You have
happen.
a blended wine that you named after. Help me out here.
Cloud9.
Was it Cloud9?
Cloud9 is
okay.
The blend.
Yeah. So
Rhapsody in Red is also a blend of wine. Bon Vivant, which means to the good life,
right,
is a Cabernet. Oh man, Merlot is unforgettable. I had a song I wrote called Unforgettable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so you produce these wines from scratch, basically.
Yeah.
You bought land, you went and planted some things, and you built this massive production now, and you keep winning awards. I mean, you get 98 points here, 96 points on this, and 96 points on that, and you've won all these awards. And so tell me how. I mean, what makes a guy think that? I mean, I'm talking to a lot of real estate people with our group right here. They've got to go out and figure out, how do I start with nothing and go build something that becomes life changing in terms of their careers and income and so forth. And after you've had successful careers at other things, you now come back and you start this. And I've always thought, man, that was just took huge tacos to do that.
Well, another match, but just do it. Learn on the job. That's my philosophy.
Just jump in.
Head first. And get some consultants. Don't listen to your accountants and lawyers. They'll talk you out of it.
Right.
If you feel it in your heart, you follow your heart, you never get lost. That's for sure.
Yeah. I used to say to people, just if you go up to the cliff and jump off, that the intensity to solve the problem goes up dramatically,
You got 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So sometimes you just jump into it. It's a good idea. I think it's time for Don't Let the
Sun
Go Down on Me, or something. Or the Lion King song. I love that.
Okay.
The
Lion King song? Yeah.
Okay.
Step into the sun. There's a more to be seen that can never be seen.
Clap, clap, clap. So this is so passionate for you. I know it's been your whole life. And I was wondering, when you started this whole music thing, I'm sorry, the wine thing, was there parallels? Did you start to have some sense of similar creativity? Or because I know the wine, especially your blends, are really, they're out of your palate. They're what you like. It's a creative process for sure. And was there something you drew from music that enabled you to do that?
Well, music is art. And wine is art.
Yeah.
I pushed the threshold of art against the sign of winemaking. And music, you always try to have something unique.
Right.
And it kind of applies towards like blending wines and et cetera. But if you think about it, you've never really had a great glass of wine without having music in the background. And that music's got to be uplifting. It can't be something morose and something that kind of makes you negative. It's got to be uplifting. Right. So that's kind of how I feel about music and wine.
Right.
Wine inspires music and music inspires wine.
The wine business, as you started it, it never goes smoothly. No business ever goes smoothly. And I'm wondering,
it's 24 hours a day.
Right, 24 hours a day. But you have this master plan, and then you begin, and now you've jumped in. You're all in, and I know you don't do anything halfway. No. So you jumped in. You bought a bunch of land. You started planting these, and then it seems like everything is going good, and then all of a sudden, somebody pulls the rug out from underneath you, or that's usually what happens.
Well, when we started there, we were winery number 37. Then everybody decided they wanted to be in the wine business. So there's around 75 wineries now in Paso Robles. It's a lot of straws in the same margarita glass.
Right. So it's competition.
Yeah, it's very competitive. Right. And but we have a great product and we have a great staff. Once they come to our tasting room, they'll come in happy and leave happier, and they'll love the wine experience.
Well, that's interesting because, in real estate, it's the same way. If you just take Los Angeles in general, there's 35, 40,000 real estate agents in that area. And the way the real estate industry has evolved, agents are taught that, every person's an individual company. And so you have the problem amongst 30,000 people to figure out, how can I be an individual? How can I stand out? How can I differentiate, myself? I know that you've made some of your differentiation in the experience at your at the vineyard itself, right? I mean, I've been to a number of your events. I don't know how many vineyards out there have the person who makes the wine sit down and serenade them when we're having dinner.
I don't know many.
But that's part of the experience.
Yeah, that is. That's after the port. Everybody's happy.
So how do you do that? You're sitting here and you're thinking, you got a lot of competition, and you're thinking it's a fun business, but a difficult business. And what's the process?
Well, actually, those winemakers dinners sell out a year in advance.
Right.
Yeah, we have waiting lists. Yeah, so people have heard the story like you just described, and they want to experience it. The process is marketing to get them into your tasting room, and then word of mouth. Once they've experienced it, it's good thoughts and good spread of the word.
You look for differentiation in terms of distribution and through restaurants. I know I've ate at Ruth's Chris and had some of your wines, and some of the other well-known restaurants. So you have to fight to get in those. Yeah. And that's hard, I'm assuming.
Well, it's ever changing every time they change sommeliers, but, and then COVID didn't help all that.
Right. Because
everything went corporate with COVID, but we're still there in several key high-end restaurants.
Right.
I don't really push it as much as I was, because we're just busy in the process.
Right. So you've done some businesses, you've done music. Even with your music, early on, you were wanting to make a career out of that, and you came out and you found, like all businesses, some rejection, some difficulties, some disappointments and so forth. And, and then as you're doing this, you have one other little monkey wrench thrown at you, and that is that you start losing your sight. And what keeps you going through it all?
Well, I think we all have a purpose in our lives, and we've got to find whatever keeps your heart pumping, whatever is burning inside you. You got to keep living it. I don't like to waste any day. I don't spend my time watching TV, sitting there. I want to do something to say I've accomplished something that day, something purposeful, learning something, which you're very good at too. I just don't want to waste the day, because every day is a gift in life. Once you live it, you don't get it back.
It's really about attitude, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you change your attitude, you can change your life for sure.
Yeah. Just this idea that you want to be productive every day. I think people in the real estate business have to have some sense of that. It's an easy business to waste time. You have to get up and stay focused, and to your point, I think find some purpose.
Yeah.
To keep going.
Keep out. Don't spend time in the margins.
Yeah. Exactly. Did you ever find yourself having to sort of fool yourself into productivity? In other words, as an example, I think with me, I found that the business could get to be a little monotonous, the maintenance over and over and over again. I found that new clients were always kind of exciting. But then I said, I've got to find a way to enjoy this. And then I started getting into computers and trying to do some leading edge stuff, to your point. And that was almost my purpose, I think, in doing that. And that was kind of fooling myself. It was intentionally saying, hey, this is the same business, but if I can find a way to spin the plate a little differently, maybe I can enjoy it more.
Well, yes. And that's wise that you did that. The wine business, every day there's a different hiccup. What you never expected to happen happens. Something breaks, it's expensive. Today we had some barrels missing of wine, and that's a tough task. What happened to those barrels? So we got to dig deep in inventories. It's always something that kind of keeps pushing you.
Employees.
That's difficult today, because a lot of them don't want to work, or they want outrageous amounts of money and their worth is not there.
Right.
But it's something different every day, so I don't have a chance to be bored.
You told me often, I think, that words are important.
Yes.
What do you mean by words are important?
Words have meaning. What you think is what you get. What you put out there comes back to you. You gotta extinguish the negative thoughts, or if your mind thinks that I can't do it, guess what? Your mind finds a way. If you think I can do it, I will do it, you will find a way. That's just the way life is. But words have power. What if you said something to your kid that's going to manifest later in their lives? Like somebody says, "Oh, you never be good at anything," then they believe that. So you got to put positive words out there for everybody.
Yeah, just live positive.
Yeah,
put it in your mind.
Yeah.
And then so what happens is when you start talking to yourself, that's affirmation, and you're kind of getting back to what I said. You're almost fooling yourself, right? What's the saying they say? It's like act the way you'd like to be, and soon you'll be the way you act, or fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
fake it till you make it, or one of those things. It's like, you're putting out positive words and you're thinking it, but then something negative hits you, bam, and now you're tested.
That's called life.
It's called life.
Yeah, you got to work around it. In my case, my philosophy is I have to work with the gifts that I've been given, work around what I don't have, when I don't have sight. So I got to find a way to go around it, work around it, and make it work for me.
Right.
It's like I have a friend that's got one arm, but he's very adroit with one arm, and he works around it.
Right.
So yeah, you got to work with what you've given and work around what you're not given. Is it
possible to your point that your blindness? I know you've talked a little bit about you felt like your other senses sort of started to pick up a little bit. Is it possible that your blindness helped your taste? Your senses? A
lot of people say that, and maybe God gave me a good palate, But I think it's like everything. It's focus, the ability to focus unrelentingly until you try to solve the problem. I don't know. I think I do have hyper taste buds, and I have maybe hyper smell for wine and etc. But I turn those sensors on.
Right.
And most people are lazy. They don't turn them on and use them.
Right.
Like memory, they don't use it.
Do you think everybody's got it? Not the palate maybe or some of that, but they've got some things they can turn on that they're not turning on.
Everybody has God-given talents. They got to find them.
Got to find them.
Turn them on.
Right. I think that's good advice to everybody. When you started the music, parallels there? Did you pick this up right away? Did you have a natural instinct for this?
I worked hard, but I was gifted with an ear.
Right.
And I did study music, but then the ability to read charts and all that stuff, I lost completely. But I don't know. I know things. I don't know how I know them, but I know them.
Right.
I think everybody may have that ability. I just have senses and gut feelings and ideas. I come in this music room every night for an hour or so, and it's also a stress relief. But I'm trying to create lyrics or finish songs that I'm recording and try to get something accomplished every single night. It's just what I do.
Well, is getting alone, does that help you with some of the focus? When I think about
what?
Does getting alone in the room and the piano become an outlet to allow you to, do you ever play the piano and in the middle of it go, I got the solution for this problem I have at the Vineyard?
No.
Never. So you're here.
No, I might get an idea in the middle of the night and I have to go and record it or manifest all night. I recorded in my voice now.
I got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I try to let things go as much as I can and deal with it later unless it's something that's really imperative.
Right. If you were starting in my business today, or you were in
real estate,
in real estate and trying to get better as a salesperson, you've been around real estate for a long time.
Yeah, I certainly have.
What, off the top of your mind, would be your advice to someone who is in the real estate business?
I would go to be mentored by the top moneymaker in the business and work free. Brain drain some.
Right.
Get one little tidbit can make you $1 million and get the right work ethic every day.
So don't be short-sighted.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like that in this business. They fail to understand that, to your point, sometimes it's just one thought turns a light bulb on, right?
As a reading a book, one passage. I know a friend who's very successful in real estate. It was like 104 degrees in the valley. I called him and he said, "I'm sweating." I said, "Why are you sweating?" He says, "I'm out letting people know I'm in the business, introducing myself." And he makes a lot of money, but he's out there doing it. He never gives up.
Right. Knocking on doors.
Yeah, in the summertime, to let him know he's got a building listed down the street or whatever. And this is what I do. If you need anything, call me.
Right.
And he said, all the time it happens. "Oh, yeah, could you find me this?"
Well, I know you've been a big positive mental attitude guy, and it's come through your music. You've written an album.
Yes.
And the album is, let me see if I wrote it down here. So
Everything
is possible.
And I've written, I've about finished a book called Everything is Possible, which would parallel some of the songs and chapters.
Well, somehow we're going to get all these things that you do in our podcast so people can reach you, and they got to try your wine, for goodness sakes.
That's the most important thing. Will make you happy.
Got to try the wine. It's great. You've got a song, Everything is Possible. I think, isn't it Believe?
And Just Believe is another song.
Just Believe, yeah. Just Believe.
Just Believe is kind of an autobiography of what I deal with, being blind, how I work around it.
Can you do some of that for me?
Yeah, I can try. You hit me when I mean practice these things.
Well,
give me a second. of my life, I've lived in darkness, but I can see what others never see. I don't ask for pity, sympathy, or sorrow. I believe the sun will shine bright on me tomorrow. I have to work with the gifts that I've been given. I work around what I never had. I may be blind, that's just an inconvenience. I work around, makes me a better warrior, and stronger, gives me pride. I won't give up until I live the dreams inside me. I won't give up until I stand on the mountaintop. I believe we all have a purpose for our lives, and every dream is possible, just believe.
These barrels are actual wine barrels that we made storage vessels out of. So they hold, each one holds around 36 or whatever bottles.
Do you have all your varieties in this?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, Roger, here we go. Our 2010 Reserve Cabernet Calvation.
Love it.
I'm proud to say I got 97 points.
97 points.
97 points.
Gosh, I love it. Do you actually go in that tub and step on it with your own feet? Is that how you crush those things?
Yeah. Me and Lucy.
I think creative people always want to have a way to express themselves, whether it's art or poet or music or whatever. And I think I'm probably an artistic person that's never learned how to express it.
No, you express it through what you do. It's creative what you do. But if you're creative in one thing, you're creative in others. Creativity does not dwell in just one thing. Creativity, like I used to draw and could paint when I was a kid.
Really?
I could do all that. And then making wine requires creativity for sure.
Right. In our businesses today, you have companies that are like the most dollar volume in home sales last year was done by a company called Compass.
Really?
And they started and they become nationwide, big Wall Street publicly traded company. And it's really interesting because they are growing, doing a lot of business. They lost a couple $100 million last year. Their stock this year has dropped 70% since they went public. Zillow, a well-known company in real estate, they've dropped 75% of their stock. They lost $28 billion in value in the last 12 months. Zillow.
I never was a fan because they seem to always be wrong with their forecast of value.
Right. Oh, they're always wrong with that. Yeah. But people buy into it. But you go to EXP's another company. They've lost 70%. Redfin lost almost 80% of their value.
I've heard of that one too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my point is that these are companies that are well known to the public, publicly traded, getting thrashed, don't make money for the most part. A couple of them are making some money, but not much. Certainly not anywhere near their market value. And I guarantee there's an executive in any one of those companies walking around thinking that they're a failure.
No, he's already had his money in the run.
Probably, yeah.
And creamed off the top.
But the point is that for a salesperson to have down times or down moments and feel like they're failures because of it, I think you're the one who said, man, you got to get up, get up, face the next day. I think it's what your song said.
Well, if you believe you're failing, you're failing.
Yeah.
I don't ask for pity, sympathy, or sorrow.
I believe the sun will shine bright on me tonight.